welcome! Coming up on today's Retro Robbins show, we're going to have a look at something that's a bit quizzy, a snooker game that you can actually change the questions and modernise it, but I'll show you how, as well as a look at something more modern, and indeed the return of Commodore vs Spectrum. So if you want a bit of retro gaming fun on the Retro Gaming Weekend, which is every weekend in my world, that's right, Retro Robbins and me, Mo, why not join me now? So if you love a bit of 8-bit, watch this, it's all about good stuff, including Crash on Retro Robbins. Tiles! Hello, welcome to the Retro Robbins show with me, Wayne, of course, and Emo, my incredible AI dancing robot. AI? AI. He's AI, and the sound that's coming is AI from the AI chip, of course. What is today's show about? Well, it's always about the same thing, to be fair. We're going to have a look at a new game before we go back in time. This year we'll be going to 1988 to take a couple of games from out of a Crash issue number 54, July. That's right, as we'll take a second look at some games that probably haven't played as much. Who knows, we might even find what we call a hidden gem. A game that time has forgotten about, that doesn't get much of a shout out these days, that is actually quite good. I've got an unusual mixture of games today. I've actually got a quiz game. That's never good for me. But I discovered something about it which was good for me. More about that in a minute. As always, a little bit of information about the show. It is run using the Engo clone, the clone of the Spectrum Next, of course. The reason why I like doing that is because when you go to the file names, you get a full on file names. In the background, we'll have the toast rack, as well as the toast rack, which is the 128K Spectrum, as well as the Plus 3, and of course the Super O Harlequin 128K. Which will be providing a few AY sounds as well, because I tend to load the games up ready, and then I'll just tweak up the sound. What does a Harlequin 128K? It looks like this bad boy here. Here's one I soldered up earlier. Oh, I should have worked on Blue Peter. There you go. Nice bit of kit. Unfortunately, this one's a bit iffy. I don't know what's going on with it, but it seems to be a bit glitchy. I don't know why. Not my soldering. I've done enough of these to know that it's not my soldering. I think it might be an IC problem. There's a bit of a twitchy IC in there. It tends to crash on certain demos, etc. and that. So, if you like today's show, give it a thumbs up, will you? Give it a ring the bell if you want to see some more notifications. If you do indeed subscribe, it's just a bit of a light entertainment for the weekend. A couple of things to tell you. Yep, don't forget Crash November 2022 will be live. We'll be having a couple of live YouTubers doing a live show, possibly from there as well. And it'll be just an absolutely great event, to which I'll be part of it. Hosting maybe, I don't know what my role will be just yet, but hopefully I'll be there to entertain you all, to make sure that everyone has a good time and bring back a little bit of that lovely nostalgia bug. What do you say, Mia? Oh, he's spinning around. So with a big book of ZX games, we're going to go and have a look at today's first new game, which has recently come out, I quite enjoyed. I'll give it a rating. I don't do a percentage, I do a marks out of 10. So if it's, you know, say if it's 73% in Crash, I will say, my rating 7.5, 8 or 7. I won't, you know, I'll go a half, but I won't go a percentage. We're doing it, we converted it from a percentage to a marks out of 10. And anything over 5.5 is a good rating. So if you will get 5.5 upwards, it's good. If you get a 10 out of 10, that's what we call a Retro Robbins special. And I don't know what's wrong with my voice, it just went up a few octaves in. And of course I'll be doing my usual thing down the old Retro Man Cave. I'll be doing my volunteering bit. So if you're coming down the cave this weekend, you may see my ugly mush there. To only I can apologise. With that said, let's start with a look at today's first new game. Yes, Emo, we're going to start playing it now. Oh, where's my literature? Oh, it's over there. The game we're going to look at, first of all, I had a little play on it. You've got a man's version, And you got a my version, kids version. I've got the English tab, so we're going to go for the man's, don't worry, I ain't that wimpy. I'm going to enlarge the screen now. Emo, you've got to go on your skateboard. Emo's firmly on his skateboard, charging. I'll have a quick look at the loading screen. We're going to give it a good play. This is the ULA Plus version. I'm not sure whether it automatically loads the ULA Plus version, but I've got ULA Plus switched on, so we'll roll with that. That means you just get a few extra colours, but the gameplay will be exactly the same as it would be as if you were playing the normal version, shall we say. It does have great music, so as soon as this loads, we'll have to stop the music here. There's your loading screen, not too bad, not too shabby, very colourful. Starting screen, nothing to be overstated there, just the border of what's going to be there all the time. The main action starts in that main section where the writing is. It's going to be a platformer, and of course it's got great opening AY tune. And I'm ruining it with my squeaky chair. As always, the crash cover tape part 1, just to let you know, is nearly done. So I'm just waiting on one file, I think, and it'll be a great one to invest in. Get yourself to Fusion Retro Books and get yourself the crash cover tape to go with your crash, which has been totally organised by me this time round, and it'll be one to collect. If you also are a games developer and you'd like to get yourself on a crash cover tape, maybe a full game, an exclusive to Crash, where you get to promote yourself and your name as a games developer, or even if you just want to promote one level of a game that you're going to release with anybody that sells them for you on cassette format, or even distribute via download or whatever, please get in touch with me at acewayne27@live.co.uk, and if you send me an email, remember I need your files in TAP or TZX format, and I'll have a look into them and see if they're worthy of a place on the crash. Of course, usually they are. There's no real high standards here, we just want good, new, inventive type games, and keeps everyone happy when there's something new released. Enough of that from me, let's go with Kempston. So, we've got a great tune in the background. Now what you've got to do is you've got to click keys, and that will open certain areas. Those obviously, they're those things coming down are going to drop your 200% energy. It has got the horrible jump mechanic where you can change direction in the air, which gravity doesn't quite work that way. First part of the game is pretty easy, just helps you to get used to it. We're not going to go down the ladder just yet because I think there's a key that we can go get this way. The map is quite big. We need to collect the keys in order to proceed through the game to rescue things. I'm going to jump up here, that's it. You go up and down ladders quite comfortably, to be honest. There's my first key, and it looks like it's going to be easy, doesn't it? But sometimes you have to be quite professional in where you actually do your jump from. There we go, I've got a key, now I can proceed down to another level. And I'm doing well, considering I've still got 200%. Oh, well. Famous last words. Yes, Emo, I was doing well. So we're going to go, let's go this way, shall we? Because I know there's a place down the ladder in a minute. Oh, that caught me by surprise. We'll go down here, and we'll take a detour across there, trying to avoid any nasties and pitfalls. Bubbles are quite dangerous. Those spikes on the floor are quite dangerous, and anything that genuinely moves, that looks like some sort of wasp to me. That's obviously going to be a toilet roll. I'll be a bit worried with a toilet roll with a mouth though, don't you think? Oh yeah, that gets, you know, you're used to things stopping when they come to spikes and turning back. Well, that just walks straight through it. So even though you can walk through it, I suppose, so can he. Oh, that was a useful gap I found there. And judging at the look of the sprite, it looks like it's meant to be a big turd. Oh, okay. A bit like me, really. Interesting looking sprites, to be fair. The mouse, well, they look slightly like their humpback mouse. Weird looking type of sprite, but you know, it's not bad. I've seen worse. Yeah, you. How much energy have I got left? Plenty. Oh, no, plenty of energy left, and I'll just load a shed loading and go. Yeah, if I fall in that yellow, I will probably perish, because that'll drain the rest of my energy, but I don't want to do that. I want to get to a place where I can use my first key, and there it is, my first key, to which I saw me dig out earlier on. The word help there, and there's a barrier, so once I've negotiated these fish, there we go, and you can see the little symbol in the bottom there has lit up red, so we've got 3 more to get. And that's what the game is roughly about. You know, you've got quite a biggish maze, some interesting looking sprites, some nice designs of the actual background themselves. The ladders are, you know, they're very thin, they look very weak to me, but they're there to serve the purpose. I'm not sure about the use of colours, to be fair. But did I enjoy playing this platformer? Well, actually, yeah, because it wasn't too bad. It was quite a nice little platformer to enjoy. It wasn't unfair, really. It had good collision. You know, you can fractionally get away with stuff. I'm down to 92%, so I don't know if I'll make it back to where I wanted to get to. And it's just a matter of good timing. For instance, you don't want to be landing on the spikes, you want to be landing by them. Down to 80%. I'm going to carry on playing it before I review it until I actually die. Which won't be too much longer, let's face it. You know what I'm like with these games. Yep, I'm trying to work my way back to the top. And I fell down that hole again, haven't I? I'm just going to go for it. Yeah, it's a nice little sound, isn't it, that AY? Just a nice little atmospheric sound in the bottom. So I think this screen's quite nice. I think it's quite nice. Just the design of the platforms, to be fair. I think that was nicely done. Because it doesn't look like bricks, do you know what I mean? It looks like something different, like it's wooden bricks and whatever. I don't know whether it's because the colours might be actually making it better than it should be, but you know. I think we're nearly done. Whoa! And of course we can go down. You can obviously go that way. You can go various ways. The level design itself is a little bit plain in places, but it does make for a bigger map, so I can understand why they've done that. Yeah. So after giving it a good play and checking out all the different areas and the sprites, and I like them. They look interesting looking sprites. I found it quite a good play. So would I play this again? Well, yeah, as a platform, I found it, you know, as I said, I found it quite interesting, and the music's not too bad. So for that reason, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So why not get yourself a copy of this? Feel free to donate £1, of course, or £2, and give it a go. 8 out of 10. Do you think that's fair? Leave your comments in the comments below. So let's move on to some Crash re-reviews. A bit of a shorter show this week. An AY tune as I go through the files. Oh, this one's quality. This is for a new game that will be featured on the Crash cover tape that I'm not going to tell you too much about. Listen to this AY tune while I look for the game I'm going to highlight for you. And what was it? Oh yeah. I forgot I can press that. We're getting there. And we're there. Yes, Skate Crazy. This is from Crash number 54, July 1988, where Crash was £1.50 came with a cassette. And in that particular magazine, the Crash Smashes were Where Time Stood Still, which got 94%, and The Empire Strikes Back, which got 90%. What did they say about Skate Crazy? Gremlin Graphics did this. It would have cost you £7.99 on cassette, or indeed £12.99 on disc. So if you bought the disc version, it wasn't a ridiculous £14.99. Yeah. Authors was a Tim Miller, a Kevin Bloomer, and a John Harrison. Presentation was given 84%, graphics was given 85%, playability was given 83%, addictive qualities was given 82%, so its overall rating was 83%. Skate Crazy. What's I want to the old tap file? Got a bit of instant loading. Great loading screen. Stop the tape. Well, I have. And I don't believe it has any AY tune in the game, but it may do at the start. So what we'll do is we'll press a button. No, that's good. It doesn't seem to have any sound, look. Yeah. Right, so there's a little bit of information to which I've just read some of them out. The music by Ben. Is that Dalglish? From here, with the camera in the way, I can't quite see it, but yeah. Oh, makes gaming quite hard, you know. It really does. Press space to continue. Indeed I shall. Are we ready to play this? I like the characters down the bottom. Great graphically opening, isn't it, really? It's really quite nice. Good use of colours and no sprite design of the characters at the bottom of the screen. I don't know if you can see them quite well on the screen. Hopefully the auto, yeah, they're really quite nice. Even the sign Skate Crazy is well done. Okay, you've got the usual controls. 1Z, which was quite a large. Okay, on a rubber keyboard that. Their keys for a rubber keyboard, obviously with the M, because on the plus you would have used space, but on the rubber keyboard M was the convenient key at the bottom, which usually got pounded a lot, and that was the part of the membrane that just died first. I remember having to use M a lot, and it wasn't working very well because the membrane had disintegrated with the amount I'd pounded it over the years in playing games. 1 or 2 players, we're going to go for 1. I know exactly what I've got to do, and I know exactly how bad I'm going to be at this game, but you know, I'll give it a go. So you're this guy here, you're skating round, collecting points. You've got to get it, try not to crash into the tyres. I don't know. Usually black and white pictures, they really do play awful on the autofocus. Jump. Yep, there, I've successfully got a jump. You're meant to be doing it a lot quicker than this. The controls aren't too bad. It can be a little bit frustrating because you have got a feeling of inertia where, you know, you have to get a reasonable amount of speed up. You get a bonus if you can get all the cans collected. And you're meant to be a lot quicker than this, of course. I'm going for the points. Can you see? I'm running over the points. Oh dear. I didn't quite make that jump properly, but I got the cans. Slow time. I don't think I meant to do that. You're meant to get between those, like, cones. They were actually off the M5 recently. They just nicked them for this game. Nearly there. Oh yeah, you get... Yeah, okay. That happens a lot for me. Let's give it a go. Now I've had a little play, I'm a bit warmed up to it, so I should get around quite easily. Yeah. Yes, I told you I could get around quite easily. I want my can. I ain't worried about the points, I just want the cans. Oh, come on, I was miles away from that, wasn't I? And now, because I didn't make that jump, I've got to run up and jump over it again. There we go, done it this time round. Oh, it's so annoying when you think you're online to get the cannon and you go and miss it. And of course, if you go over that white edge, oh, that was a good jump. Oh, come on, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Hopefully. Come on, get away from me. That remote control car, I thought I'd advise you. And then you have to land on that little square. Sorry, circle, target, square. I think I need to get to Specsavers. He ain't very happy, is he? One more go. This time, let's see if we can do even better. Come on, let's see if we can get a bonus. Right, that's good. That's good. I told you to get better, don't I? I have to warm up with these games nowadays. Come on, you can do this. Oh, what did I hit? Really? And I crashed there. How did I crash there? No, I have failed. I have definitely failed dismally. Anyway, while I proceed to die, let me tell you what I thought about the game. I thought it was graphically very nice. It seems grey, doesn't it? But it controls well. The inertia actually does work quite well. With a few goes, you do get better. And overall, it got 83%. Yeah, it is lacking on sound. It did come out in 1988. So maybe they could have put a theme in the background, pretty much like I've done with a bit of AY music. You know, for people who had a 128k version, would have enhanced it slightly. But the game itself's not too bad. For that reason, I gave that a 8 out of 10. Totally agreed with Crash, really. Just rounded it down to 8 out of 10. Maybe it's one that you used to play back in the day. Did you enjoy it? I certainly gave it a go. As you can see, I'm pretty pathetic. That guy's got red hair. One of the sprites has got red hair. Why is the other? The other sprites have got black hair and everybody's got red. Let's have a look at the next game that I've got up in line to be re-reviewed from Crash, number 54. Okay, this game, well, it's an unusual one to be fair because it's a quiz game. Oh, turn that up. Like a bit of AY tune. The producer was Top 10. Unusual name, unusual people who produced this. £1.99. A Stephen Howlett was the coder involved. Presentation given 60%, graphics given 40%, playability 65%, addictive qualities 50%, overall rating was 59%. However, it was, as I say, coded. It wasn't really coded. More on that in a moment. We're going to go straight for the idea of the game is you have to answer questions. What I'm going to do here, because you're going to have, you can redefine your keys, believe it or not. So for answer A, well, we'll have A. For answer B, we'll have B, C and D. But you can also advance, forward, select E for enter. Okay. You answer a Red Bull question and the questions are quite dated. Okay, but remember this was back then where it would have been more relevant. So let's start the game. You get a certain time, you got good, better than that. 1 point question, here we go. I would say, I don't have a clue, but we'll go for A. It was wrong. Oops. You have one chance left. A red ball question. Lucky guess. Okay, so now you get to change what your strength of the question is. So we need to go, you know, you can either go yellow, blue or black. So you don't get any colours in between. You don't get the green, the brown, you know, or the pink. Which is odd, because it's, you know, you could do with having a various, you know, but I suppose it's keeping the game down to a basic. More on that in a moment, of course. So we're going to go for that one. And what did we say? Yes, of course. I forgot how to advance on that now, didn't I? Where was Hans Christian Andersen born? Was he B? Denmark. I was lucky. A red ball question. So I'll start off, see if we can get this one. Which of the following was a hit for Gilbert O'Sullivan? I was a DJ, I should know this. D. No! Oops! Claire. It was Claire, wasn't it? Panicked. The time makes you panic. And yeah, I didn't quite make the... Oh look, scores have gone up now. 20 to 35, 36 to 50, 51 to 65 for export. And Genius, which is 66 to 80, is me. Right, questions, dated, gameplay, not so bad. Would have been better if we'd have had a couple of extra colours. Rather than the difficulty of the questions, the colours could have represented the subjects of the questions, i.e. general knowledge, history, music, etc. But it was only basic. Right there. Oops. Oh, what have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? Okay, right. I'm going to cheat. Boom, we started the game. And there's a reason why I'm doing this. This shows that this game is completely basic. It did have a screen string, obviously, so there was a loading screen. If you scroll down and you can see the way the game was programmed, if you are sort of stuck on a various question once you've pressed break, and if you really want to cheat, you can, because as you come across A, B, C and D, there you go, you'll come across the questions in a minute. I like the little graphics, just after the graphics the questions are. That was all done with bin statements and data statements, of course. This is cheating, I know, but yeah, I'm a cheat. Especially when there's a challenge involved. And I think the questions are coming any time now. There you go. You see at the end of the questions how many players make up a rugby team. Well, that's 12, isn't it? So you press B, which would be the second one along, which is 12. As you can see in the double dots, B, that's the answer, gives you the answer. For the second question it will be B. For the third question, and of course all the questions are all text, which uses a lot of memory doing text questions as opposed to coding it. So this game could be improved upon. But you can cheat on it. Right, so it got 59%. Yes, I totally agree. 6 out of 10 because it's basic. But I like the fact that I can actually look at the questions. You can actually doctor the game and change the questions to something more relevant for yourself. So that's what I've been doing. I've been doing a new version of this by changing the questions for more relevant questions. Because there's no coding involved, you just simply change the questions and you change the letter in order to do that. Snookered! And believe me, I was snookered on a few questions, but that was only because of the pressure of the time, to which I've altered as well. I gave myself a little bit more time. I like it when I can do that. Let's move on to the next game that I've got in mind. Panorama! What tune? That's just an excellent tune. That's coming from the toast rack. It's beautiful. Really know the toast rack. I've improved it somehow. Changed something in it. I don't know what I did. I think it was an accident. It wasn't my brains, that's for sure. The Powerhouse were the producers, and it was a David Crummark and Craig Gallery were the coders. Right, presentation 60%, graphics was given 55%, playability 65%. I need a drink. I forgot my Pepsi Max, I should have bought something. Addictive quality 68%, overall 61%. It is indeed a shoot-em-up. We're going to have a brief look at the loading screen, and it will be brief. In fact, I think I'll use the TZX. We'll increase the speed and we'll go for... I like it. I like what you can do with the Spectrum Next and the clone where you can load them. But you've still got the option of watching them alone, loading the original way from an original TZX file, if you so wish, if you've got the accelerated model, of course. Am I drowning myself out? Well, probably, because I do tend to have the music a little bit too loud. I can't help it. You know, when I play my retro, anyone who visits the Retro Robbins show, and there will be visitors here, I gathered that, will see a wall of knives and a whole host of eye candy around them in virtually a museum in itself. And it's going to get bigger, because I'm going to have Mega Drives, I'm going to have Nintendos, I'm going to have every computer I can possibly lay my hands on. Hopefully, if anyone's got any generosity and they want to help me to grow, I don't need Spectrums, I've got all of those. I'm going to build my own little retro fun where we can record live shows of people actually playing. That's my vision of the future, where everyone else can do a review. That would be great. So now I've loaded this game, and we've got to turn the sound up here because it's got sound. It's got like a shooting effect sound. Doesn't really have an AY sound. So we press fire to start once we and it looks like, well, I don't know whether it's meant to be an angry pumpkin or a cat with a really, really angry face. But this is the game. It's a scrolling game where it's constantly at one speed scrolling up. And yes, I have cheated, I know, but when I'm playing these games I tend to die a lot. You collect power-ups. The screen itself is quite monotone. The sprites are kind of strange. I don't know what they're meant to be, some of them. But it is fairly smooth. And as you get through the levels all slightly vary, but they're the same background, shall we say. But what is that meant to be, honestly? Yeah, you get double firing, which helps, you know. If you get double bullets as a power up, you get up to 4 bullets. And you try and... they sort of block your bullets as well. Some of the background can be quite annoying and blocking your bullets. When you collect these question marks, a lot of times the enemies retreat. So you basically have to hit everything you can. What you're meant to do at the end of the end boss, I have no idea, because you can't destroy him. I think you just have to survive him. There are 7 levels, to which this is the first one. Every level is quite long. The attack waves are varied and very tricky indeed. The problem with this game is the bullet there. See that little bullet there? It's really slow moving and stays on the screen a long time, which means that you could end up, shall we say, accidentally running into it. when avoiding the enemies that are coming on the screen from all types of directions. So it's a little bit random on where they get left. You know, if they're left in the wrong place that you need to dodge to, like for instance, I'd be dead now. Well, we all know that, but you know. I'd have lost a ship or two, or well, angry pumpkin stroke catface type thing that we've got as a craft. Weird looking sprite. Whether this was based on an arcade game, I have no idea. But, you know, they were a sizable type of, you know, they're all roughly the same size sprite that you're firing at. There you go, these things sort of blockable. There's plenty on the screen you can destroy. The colour of the screen will either go blue or green or white as you get through each stage, or yellow. This is what you get now. You get that guy coming down, to which you can't destroy. All you've got to do really is avoid him. So what the point of that was, I have no idea. And then you move on to the next level. So they got a 61% overall rating, and looking at it graphically wise, there are good variation sprites. It probably plays better on a faster speed. So for instance, if you've got the Spectrum next, just increase it and then return from there. On this occasion it's froze. It will play a lot better, but load it at that level. But look, I've crashed the code. Would I go back to play this one? Not really, no. I didn't think it was brilliant. It was okay. I gave it a 5.5 out of 10. I demoted it, shall we, a little bit, because there's plenty of shoot-em-ups that are really good. For instance, if you're playing something like Iridium, you're scrolling smooth, but what really makes Iridium stand out is the fact that when you increase speed, the scrolling increases speed. And when you turn around, the way the ship flips around and comes back, you've got none of that with this. You just got a left and a right and a left and a right. The screen's really going through a glitch, isn't it? So yeah, do you agree? Let me know what you think in the comments below. So leave a comment. Have you played this? Did you like it? Did you actually buy this? I'd have been disappointed in buying it. But saying that, it was only a budget game at £1.99, so you wouldn't be too disappointed, would you? Let's see if we can fit some Commodore versus Spectrum in. I love the background music here. Hysteria for the Spectrum versus Hysteria for the Commodore, which was programmed by a group of programmers from Special Effects that also included Jonathan Smith, Jim Badley and one or two others that I can't think off the top of my head who they are. Well, I used to know them off by heart, but as you get older you start to forget things, unfortunately. I am 50 and I'm starting to forget the occasional thing, including this music is just a little bit too loud. Right. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to have a look at the Spectrum version and we're going to look at the Commodore version, and we're going to judge which of the two is the better version. Hysteria obviously would have had a little touch of Jonathan Joffa Smith, or Joffa, as he used to spell his name backwards. Done some great games. First game I know of his was when the age of 16 he went to Ocean with a game called Put Put, which I've seen recently on the Facebook groups. Was a brilliant game. Not only did he do the graphics in the game, but he did all the gameplay. Usually gamers tend to do, one person does the graphics, one person does the game and coding. It's very rare you get a graphic artist and a coder put together in one person to complete the whole picture, and his graphic art was pretty good. So if there's a game you ever want to see coded by someone who was 16 and took about 7 weeks to 8 weeks to do, Put Put for the ZX Spectrum is a worthy play, trust me on this. So we got the loading screen there for the Spectrum, and we're going to have a look now at the loading screen for the Commodore. Indeed, as the music fades down, we've just got to change the settings. And I've gone too far. Oh, I've missed the game. Comes the Commodore. Well, this nice looking loading screen for the Commodore. Slightly wider picture. Indeed, it has software projects there, special effects logo, Hysteria, which is a strange game to say the least, much similar to Cobra where you use your head. You've got a forked tongue, shall we say, so it runs, it's going to be roughly the same type of game. Go back into that, looking at that, you know, he looks, you know, well zipped there, and a nice little bit of power coming, chi as they say in Chinese, is shining through. Go back to that Spectrum version, which is the better two logos. Spectrum's not as colourful, it is graphically nice, he looks slightly broader on the Spectrum. You've got the Hysteria, you've got a nice blue and yellow with white. So we'll say once more, let's go back to the loading screen on the Commodore. I'm going to give that loading screen victory to the Commodore because I just think it looks slightly better. Right, what we're going to do now is we're going to turn this music down as I fade you out and give this game a go. So it'll load up like this on the Commodore with loads of coloured bars, and eventually we'll get in straight into the game. And I'm using the joystick, one of Geordie's finest. These are great little joysticks, by the way. If you ever get a chance to get one. They're better made than some of the joysticks back in the day. They've got a really nice clicky feel. No, we do not want to cheat. Yes, I could cheat if I want to. Yes, we don't want to load new scores. Boom, there we go. As somebody would say, the sound is Sid and it's coming out loud and proud. Very flickery effect on the colours. Just got to make sure that this is not too loud because the microphone tends to pick up the SID sound very well indeed compared to the AY. But the AY, I think, a lot of the time sounds a lot nicer. Are we ready? Indeed we are. Oh, so we got a background music. And we got a very nice scrolling effect, which was never going to be a problem with the Spectrum. I didn't realise I could kill that above there. That arrow indicates how many at the bottom you can see. So we're doing okay. Your power ups as well as everything. Gotcha. Oh, it's a nice looking background, isn't it, really? It's very smooth on the scrolling indeed. But I don't think that's going to be a problem this time round with the Spectrum. But I like the details in the background there, you know, like the little houses and monuments. I don't know if they're houses or monuments in the background. And because I headbutted that rather than collected it, I didn't get the gem that may be hidden behind it. Like so. They seem to spawn as well, straight out the ground, don't they? I was never any good at this game, but, you know, for the continuity, there we go, death effect there, straight away I've been blown into loads of bubbles. Okay, that was the Commodore version. Oh, I do like this. I do like this. You can put your name in via this sort of technique, and if you see it's a wireframe system of letters, for instance, we can also see how many letters you can put in, shall we? Okay, so we'll go all the way back to E. We're going to put retro, and if you get time, we're going to put Robbins. Nice, isn't it? Let me just zip ahead for you. There we go, with the wireframe done, enter. And I've just about managed to make the bottom score. Okay, then let's move on to the Spectrum version and see which one is the better. It's all gone very quiet, hasn't it? Right, we know why, because we're about to get a bleeper sound. Don't believe there was ever any AY music in this. Reminds me of a little bit like Ping Pong's background music, this in a way, where it was obviously bleepers just on and off, and this sort of tried to put as many sounds as it can, sometimes with success and other times with annoying ear bashing sound. In this case, it wasn't too bad. But does it compare to the Commodore sit-down? Well, no, obviously the beeper wouldn't compete with that. However, it wasn't too bad, was it really, for a beeper at the time? Shame this didn't have AY music in it, but this was made solely on the Spectrum, I suppose, and that's what they had at the time, so they've done well with what they had to work with. Time to go. Right, you've got a few more colourful graphics at the bottom, and now obviously you've got the usual skeleton. They seem to come straight away on this one, the version of this. Very nice scrolling again. As I said, the scrolling wasn't going to be too much of a problem because Joffrey himself converted his engine from Cobra over to this one as well. The way he did the scrolling on that was amazing, and this one doesn't disappoint. As you can see, when they at the top, the graphics tend to shuffle along very slightly. You know what, the little statuettes or whatever it is you have to destroy, which we'll come across in a moment. Gameplay though is about the same. You know, it's the same. Well, unfortunately, with a monotone background, it does leave the graphic Spectrum version at a slight disadvantage. But unfortunately, that's the limits of the machine with colour clash. But as you can see, that bullet virtually tracing the bullet in the midair there you go. Stays a slightly larger object to collect as well, aren't they, to be fair? So there you go. Once again, I collected that there at the top. If you notice, when next time I come across them, I'll show you the shuffling effect as it shuffles along. It sort of blocks along, and any minute now, see how it's the rabbit sort of blocking along slightly. And doesn't look like it does that on the Spectrum. You know, it's almost as if it's moving on the platform itself. But now it's time to die and see the death sequence. And as always, nobody wants to kill me. Here we go. Anybody know I'm about to lose my life? Slime, you a bit of a star, just exploding. Well, we've seen enough, so here comes my verdict. Had to be, didn't it? The soundtrack, the scrolling, the actual sprites that are used, the animation. They're slightly larger characters, if you see. The skeletons are, good. And look how smooth those things are at the top. You know, they don't seem to be moving, blinking along the platform. The scrolling on this game, it's pretty untouchable for the Spectrum to do that. Maybe the next might be able to achieve it, but, the background itself, and he gets a real sense of speed when he's running. You know, the Spectrum seems a little bit slower in motion, and look at the the fire that's coming out of his mouth. You can clearly see it. So yeah, the graphics and everything, the gameplay itself is slightly better. So for that reason, that's the reason why I gave it Commodore 64. Indeed, Hysteria for the Commodore is, without doubt in my books, the better conversion, the better game entirely. Although, I'm not so sure about the bubbly explosion effect in the death sequence myself. Well, with that said, I think it's now time to wrap up the show and to say my usual amount of thank yous as I desperately look for the mute button on the television. Right then. Hope you enjoyed today's show. A bit of a shorter show than normal, but we did manage to get Commodore vs Spectrum in. Next week there's going to be a special guest on the show to help me play a double game. A game that's actually been played before on a Commodore vs Spectrum show. But without too much spoiler alerts coming up, there could be a bit of a fight going on. So yeah, that could be next week's show. Also, don't forget Crash November 2022 is coming up. As soon as I get the dates, I will announce it on the show for you. Make sure yourself alive on that one. We've got some really good YouTubers turning up. We've got loads of different things, plus people, all sorts of stores will be turning up as well. It'll be about Crash, it'll be about Spectrum, it'll be like the 40th anniversary all over again, but towards the end of the year as we celebrate Spectrum 40 in a Crash magazine style. With me, Wayne, of course, who is doing the Crash cover tape for Crash magazine, and I've nearly completed the first one, which I'm hoping will knock it out the bag. No spoiler alerts on this one, but let's put it this way, there's a little bit of something from everybody. There's a shoot 'em up, a platformer, and a great bit of music. Indeed. Right, usual thank you to Dean Jones's Cues, who are like an unofficial sponsors. Thank you to Matthew Logue, Richard Hollins. Thank you to Lee Chop Stevens for his help behind the scenes as well. He's been helping me with the Crash cover tape. We've given too much away there. Ooh, Easter egg. Spoiler alert. And of course, thank you to everybody and yourselves for watching the show. Remember to like, subscribe and share. Help this channel grow, and I'll give you some more interesting content on Retro Robbins. In the meantime, depending on when you watch this, oh, one other thing is, yes, I've already done the cave. I know I said I'll, if you see it tomorrow, but that was Friday when I started recording. It's Sunday when I finished. So I've been there. Have a nice working weekend, week or weekend, depending on when you watch this. I hope you enjoy it, of course. From me, Wayne, Retro Robbins, and of course, Emo over there, the AI robot who is now on charge. Ta-da, then. Oh, that's somebody else does that, isn't it? Who does that? Oh, Babs Arcade. Ta-da, then. Bye from me. Take care.